Recording in progress.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Um, I actually was going to go in a whole nother direction today, but my rest was interrupted. I was resting and I'm a dreamer at times. Stuff happens in my dream and stuff, and I believe, there's things that I'm supposed to get from my dream. This morning, or this AM, excuse me, I like saying morning. Um, I got something from my dream. So I want to address and deal with some stuff. Israel kind of has this pride about itself for some reason, like, we're the chosen ones and stuff. And some people even, when they hear that, they believe that we have a superiority complex. And I'm like, that's not accurate. But I want to address that. And also, other nations that deal with us have operated as if they were superior to us. So again, got to get things in proper perspective. I'm one that believes in integrity. So, I believe integrity is expected of Israel. That in operating integrity, sometimes you're going to have to, tell the truth, even if it has you looking, you know, not as favorable as you would like. Got to be honest on it. Got to be truthful, and then allow Yah to move. Some of the darkness that we've encountered is self-inflicted. And a lot of times we don't want to take credit for that and acknowledge we did this to ourselves in some instances. So I'm going to get ready to go. Abiyah, I thank you for this Shabbat. I thank you for this opportunity to address some things. If we're going to move forward, some things need to come from out of the dark and have light shown on them. There's so much that's going on in our, I guess, ancestry and in our current existence that we're not dealing with, and is hindering us from moving forward. A lot of times we are told that, we're operating out of trauma, which may be truth. But if you look into your book and into the document that we call the Bible, those collection of books often show our patriarchs as well as matriarchs ministering through trauma. May we edify and grow, operating integrity and honoring you this Shabbat. Yada Yahuwah. Okay, so again, I'm dealing with skeletons in the closet, and I want to deal with some of the dysfunctions. Some of the dysfunctions in us, is going on. Like if you look at even before it became the Israel nation of Israel or Yasharal, you see Cain and Abel. They had a dysfunction. One brother slew the other. Jealousy and all that went about. So just want to move forward and look at, a situation that to me has a mixture of two. Just gonna briefly talk on it. You had the daughter of Yaqub or Yasharal, Dinah, and Sechem favored her and took her. And upon taking her and laying with her, the brothers Levi and Simeon, they took it upon themselves to go to the people of Shechem and talk to them and convince them to circumcise themselves to unite with their family. And as all the people there did that, they later came in as those people were dealing with the weakness that comes with circumcision at an adult age, and they killed all those people. They had righteous indignation, you would say, because their sister was humbled, but the way they went about it. Now, y'all allowed it because, we see that Levi ended up being the representative of the priesthood, the example that was given. Not that moment was the example, but their lifestyle afterward was supposed to be an example. Skipping forward, let's go to some text and let's talk on some things here. Some of our stuff that needs to be, I guess, uncovered and shown. But first, before that, I'm gonna set a foundation and show you some stuff. So let's go there first. Let's go there first. This is to me a dynamic text is something that shows the benefit that we receive in being with Yah, but it clearly, to me, clears up some things. See, I'm one that deals with my past a lot, and people almost, want me to forget my past. I believe that we should embrace the healing from the past and use that to minister. And sometimes we have not reached that healing, but let's go here. Let me go to this text and just read. Thank you for those that are giving me audience. So here's in Ezekiel 36, starting at what's called verse 17. It says, Son of man, when the house of Yasharal dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own ways and deeds. So that alone right there, a lot of things that happen in our familiar settings, we want to blame on other nations. We want to blame on situations that occurred to us while we were being dealt with by other nations. But right here it says, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own ways and deeds. So this was not the deeds of anyone else. And these actions that we did ourselves, our ancestors did, are what opened us up to be put into the hands of other people. Accountability is a part of the integrity that we need to have. We know we need to start dealing with these things that are in our closet. It's us that brought slavery to us. It's us that caused a lot of the, I guess, heinous acts that happened to us. Yes, these things were overreached by these other nations, but of course, if we had been just obedient, these things would not have occurred. So let's go, keep reading. To me, their ways was like uncleanness of a woman in her monthly period. As a man, I can tell you some things that I'm gonna shock you a little bit or mess with you a little bit. As a man, I'm pretty sure most men who raised up around women have went to the bathroom and found used hygiene products in the trash. Sometimes even splashes of blood in the toilet and be disgusted as a man. Like, oh, but Israel as a whole, their ways was like the uncleanness of a woman in her monthly period. As a young man, I seen a girl have an accident in school. Her stuff came on suddenly. This is something that we label as disgusting, but we was all as a nation, our uncleanness was like this. Okay. So I poured out my wrath on them for the blood they had shed on the land. We shed that blood. For their idols, they defiled it. We had the idols, and I scattered them among the nations. So what happened with us among the nations is definitely a result of what we did in our own land. and they were dispersed throughout the lands. I have judged them according to their ways and their deeds. And when they came to the nations, wherever they went, they, who? They, Yasharal, profaned my set apart name, for it was said of them, these are the people of Yahuwah, and yet they have gone out of his land. We were scattered because of our own actions. How do you get pride out of that? How do you get to blaming, oh, the white man did this, the white, no, you did that. I know, when Kanye said it or whatever, it offended a lot of folks, but, truth is truth. But it just was the messenger that was wrong in that situation in many's eyes, I guess. They didn't want to hear that. Don't want to take responsibility for our actions. Don't want to operate in integrity and say, okay, we did this. But I had compassion on my set apart name. Yah put his name on us. So his compassion is not just to us yet. We're chosen by him, but we rejected him. His compassion is on his set apart name, which the house of Yasharel had profaned among the nations wherever they went. Therefore say to the house of Yasharel, thus said the Master Yahuwah, I do not do this for your sake, O house of Yasharel, but for my set apart name's sake, which you have profaned among the nations wherever you went. And I shall set apart my great name, which has been profaned among the nations, which you have profaned in their midst. And the nations shall know that I am Yahuwah, declares the Master Yahuwah, when I am set apart in you before their eyes. So something has to happen to us. We need to be walking in Torah, walking in obedience to his instructions. Torah, instructions, Torah, law. Torah means both of those things. When we walk in that and set ourselves apart, we glorify and magnify our Master, Yahuwah, our Father, Yahuwah. And I shall take you from among the nations, and I shall gather you out of all lands, and I shall bring you into your own land. He's going to return us. That hasn't happened yet. Some people are taking it upon themselves to go, and I'm not hearing about that. And I shall sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean. This is an act of Yah. We the ones that are defiled like a woman on her monthly rag, but he's going to make us clean from all your filthiness and from all your idols. I cleanse you. And I shall give you a new heart and put a new ruach or new spirit within you. He's going to do this. And I shall take the heart of stone out of your flesh, and I shall give you a heart of flesh, and put my ruach, my spirit, within you. And I shall cause you to walk in my laws and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. Man, it's a lot of us out here. We really working at doing this thing. But he's letting you know this is an act of Yah. He put it in us to do this. And he's going to put it into more people to do this. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave your fathers, and shall be my people, and I shall be your Elohim. But let's keep going. Let's keep going, because I got a point here. And I shall save you from all your uncleanness, and I shall call for the grain to increase, and I shall bring no scarcity of food upon you. Right now, we're dealing with them talking about canceling EBT and all this different stuff. But Yah's going to provide our food, not a government, not a government of the world, but a government of Yah. And I shall increase the fruit of your trees and increase your fields, so that you need never again bear the reproach of scarcity of food among the nations. And you shall remember your evil ways. That's it right there. And ye shall remember your evil ways. and your deeds that were not good. Say it again. And ye shall remember your evil ways and your deeds that were not good. Say it again. And you shall remember your evil ways and the deeds that were not good. So he's not going to wipe your memory. Those things that I did in my youth, those things that were done to me, when I remember these things, these traumas that occurred, that so many people have taught me or tried to teach me to forget, we as a nation are going to remember our own evil ways. So if we remember our evil ways, aren't we going to remember what has happened to us, all this other stuff? Yes. This teaching of forgetting your past. What is the Bible? It's a document that's telling us about the past of our ancestors. And over it's showing us their failures, their sins, their transgressions against Yah. And it's giving us an example to show what can happen when you do that. And it's showing us basically the results of us being obedient. People always want to erase the past, but that's not, you can't live in the past, but you must use it as a tool to remember Yah. And you shall remember your evil ways and your deeds that were not good, and you shall loathe yourself in your own eyes for your crookedness and your abominations. This is kingdom time. So basically, you're going to enact a level of humility on yourself because you're going to remember how unclean and how you were like a woman's menstruation. But you're also going to remember him cleaning you up. You're going to remember your evil ways and your deeds that were not good, your transgressions against him. But you're going to also remember how he cleaned you up, how he saved and delivered you from your crookedness and your abominations. Not for your sake I am acting, declares the Master Yahuwah. Let it be known to you. Be ashamed and blush for your ways, O house of Israel. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, on the day that I cleanse you from all your crookedness, I shall cause your cities to be inhabited, and the ruined places shall be rebuilt. Hallelujah, Yada Yahuwah. So that's just my foundation, because I want to actually deal with some of the dysfunction in Israel. You know, I had a post on Facebook that if you know me on Facebook, go check it out. But if not, so be it. We got a lot of things that are done in the dark, dysfunction in our family that we don't address. And it's left trauma on some people. I've labeled myself a black sheep of my family. What I talked about in my other posts, I'm not going to get into detail. It didn't really affect me, but there were some mistreatments that occurred towards me. And I bring those things up because my dreams bring those things to reality now. But I don't dwell on it past after I get it out. But it does come back again. And some people are like, man, why do you live in the past? And I'm like, I'm not living in the past. I'm a product of my past. And people want me to forget what has happened. You know, I'm happily married 23 years, or finna be 23 years. But yet I had a marriage prior that was 4.5 years, and a lot of stuff happened. And people, why are you still talking about that? Somebody may need to hear it because someone is actually going through that situation right now. But again, that's not my focus. I want to show that we got skeletons in our closet. Dysfunction. And we can't keep blaming, as they say, the palm skin person or the white man or the other nations. We got to take responsibility and remember our unfilthiness and then start pointing it towards the righteousness and the cleanness that we have now. A lot of us are walking with integrity in Yah, but some people need to know that we come from filthiness so that they can see that they can also be cleaned up. It's not a pride thing, it's a reality thing. Some people don't feel like, they're worthy. And none of us are worthy, but Yah has still chosen us. And that makes us worthy enough because He chose us. He knows what He wants. He knows what He desires. He knows who He loves. But let me get back to the text. All right. I'm going over here to Shaphatim, Judges 19. So let me get there and I'm going to read. So it says here, starting in the beginning, and it came to be in those days when there was no sovereign in it, Yasharal, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the further side of the mountains of Ephraim. And he took for himself a concubine from Bethlehem in Yahudah. And his concubine committed whoring against him. And he went away, and went away from him to her father's house at Bethlehem in Yahudah, and was there for new moons, for there 4 new moons, 4 months, 4 new moons of days. And her husband arose and went after her to speak to her heart and bring her back, having his servant a couple of donkeys with him, and she brought him into her father's house, and the father of the young woman saw him and was glad to meet him. And his father-in-law, the young woman's father, took hold of him, and he dwelt with him 3 days. And they ate and drank and spent the nights there. And it came to be the 4th day, and they arose early in the AM, and he prepared to leave. But the young woman's father said to his son-in-law, "Refresh your heart with a piece of bread, and afterward go your way." So they sat down, and the two of them ate and drank together. And the young woman's father said to the man, "Please agree to stay all night, and let your heart be glad." And when the man rose to go, his father-in-law urged him, so he spent the night there again. And he rose early in the AM on the 5th day to go. But the young woman's father said, "Please refresh your heart." So they delayed until afternoon, and both of them ate. And the man arose to go, and he and his concubine and his servant. But his father-in-law, the young woman's father, said to him, "See, the day is now drawing toward evening. Please spend the night." Drawing towards evening. The day is coming to an end. Evening is the end of day. Not the start, but anyway. Yep, you got it. The end of any evening is the anyway. Stay here and let your heart be glad, and you shall rise early tomorrow for your journey, and you shall go to your tent. But the man would not stay that night, and he arose and left, and came to a place opposite Jebus, that is Jerusalem. And with him were the 2 saddled donkeys and his concubine with him. They were near Jebus, and the day was far spent. And the servant said to his master, "Come, please, and let us turn aside into this city of the Jebusites and spend the night in it." And his master said to him, "Let us not turn aside here into a city of foreigners who are not of the children of Yasharal, but we shall pass over to Geba." And he said to his servant, Come, let us draw near to one of these places and spend the night in Geba or in Ramah. And they passed over and went their way, and the sun went down on them near Gibeah, which belongs to Benjamin. And they turned off there to go in to spend the night in Gibeah. So he went in, and he sat down in the open square of the city, for no one would take them into his house to spend the night. Now, if anybody knows anything about the Torah, you're supposed to have hospitality towards Israelites, Yasharites, and supposed to offer them a place. That ain't what happened here at first. But see, an old man came in from his works in the field at evening, who also was from the mountains of Ephraim, and he was sojourning in Gibeah, whereas the men of the place were Benjamites. And when he lifted up his eyes, he saw the traveler in the open square of the city, and the old man said, Where are you going, and where do you come from? And he said to him, We are passing over from Bethlehem in Yehuda to the other side of the mountains of Ephraim. I am from there, and I went to Bethlehem in Yehuda, and I am going to the house of Yahuwah. This is, again, a Levite. But there is no one taking me into his house. That's he acknowledging the law. No one taking me in my house. They ain't showing hospitality. Yet there's both straw and fodder for our donkeys, and bread and wine for myself and for your female servant, and for your young man who is with you, with your servant. There's no lack of any matter. And the old man said, Peace be with you. He said, Shalom. However, let your needs be on me. Only do not spend the night in the open square. So he's actually doing the Torah and offering him in, giving him a place. And he brought him into his house and gave fodder to the donkeys, and they washed their feet and ate and drank. They were making their hearts glad, and see, men of the city, sons of Belial, surrounded the house, beating on the door, and they spoke to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring out the man. They wasn't thinking about the concubine. Bring out the man who came to your house so that we know him. These Benjamites were looking to do something a little strange with this Levite. Bring out the man who came to your house so that we know him. Majority of my audience probably knows the Hebrew idiom what know means. When you know a man knows a woman, it means he's having sexual intercourse with her. But they wanted the man brought out, not the concubine, so that they can know him. A lot of people want to blame homosexuality within Israel on Sodom and Gomorrah, which was brown people too, but they, a lot of them want to blame it on chattel slavery that happened here in America, the buck breaking and stuff like that, and want to blame it on the palm skin people, say that they were the one that introduced us to this. But we see these Benjamites wanting to get at this Levite. They want to take this priest down and know him. Not his concubine, but they want this priest. But the man, the master of the house, went out to them and said to them, No, my brothers, these is kinsmen of his. I beg you, do no evil. Since this man has come into my house, do not do this folly. Look here is my maiden daughter. So he got a young daughter that he's offering them, and this man's concubine. Let me bring them out now and humble them. Don't humble this priest, this man. Don't do this. He trying to give him his daughter, his maiden daughter, his young daughter, and the man's concubine. Let me bring them out now and humble them and do with them what is good in your eyes. But do not do such a foolish matter to this man. don't do this homosexual act to this man. Don't take something from him. But they giving up to women. I'm like, that's kind of disturbing in this day and time. I know I got daughters and stuff like that, but still, it's this is what's in our past, in our ancestry. But the men would not listen to him. So the man took hold of his concubine and brought her out to them, and they knew her and rode themselves all on her all night until morning, and let her go when the day began to break. So they did what they wanted to this concubine. Remember, they wanted the prophet, though. They wanted the Levite. I ain't gonna even, I'm gonna stop that part right there. They went in so much to this woman that she was near death. She had to drag herself back to that door, and she eventually died. So this Levite basically wanted justice. So he took the dead body, cut it up in 12 pieces, and sent it out to the tribes. And he's like, this is what these Benjamites did. And so the people, the tribes come together and they basically wanted to judge Benjamin. And they like, hey, give us the men that did this. And Benjamin like, no, we ain't giving you nothing. This is family issue. This is a generational situation likely is the result of this. Because these Benjamites, they basically fought against him, and they was killing off a lot of these Yasharal Israelites. They was killing them. And then Yah intervened and basically, changed it over, and they started getting the better of the Benjamites. But in the end, the Benjamites were no longer allowed to just be given a wife of these other tribes, and it wasn't enough of the men left and the women left that that tribe was probably going to be gone, and he allowed them to, I guess, to go on feast days catch women dancing or whatever. But I'm like, still, there's a lot with that. You got to read it yourself. But man, that attempt at homosexuality that was there, um, the attempt of forcefully laying with men, man, and then they forcefully laid with the concubine and killed her. They laid with her so much that she died. Come on. This ain't wickedness from other nation. This is wickedness in our own house. This the uncleanness that ain't gonna be forgotten. You're gonna have to remember this. It's a shame on you. Ain't nothing to be proud about. It's a shame. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. I got more to hit, you know, and yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right, let's keep going. Let me go to my, let me keep going. All right. All right. Keeping going. I'm gonna stay I'm gonna go over here to Shemuel Bet or Second Samuel 11. What's called chapter 11. All right, let me share my screen. Share my screen to make sure you got it. Let me see. Am I sharing my screen? There you go. All right. And it says, and it came to be at the turn of the year, at the time of sovereign, that at the time sovereigns go out to battle, that Dawid sent Joab and his servants with him and all Yasharel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But Dawid remained at Jerusalem. It just said that the sovereigns go out to battle during this time, but no, not Dawid this time. And it came to be at evening time that Dawid rose up from his bed and walked about on the roof of the sovereign's house. So he up high. And from the roof he saw a woman bathing. She was in the bath. And the woman was very good to look at. Mm. This man is coveting because this woman is married. And she married to one of his top men. So he knew this woman, who this man, he probably knew who houses were. Why he even looking that way? But she bathing on the roof. Her name's Sheba, Bathsheba. She bathing, Sheba. And Dawid sent and asked about the woman. And one said, is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And Dawid sent messengers to fetch her. See, Uriah was one of his men that he rode with even before he became king. And Dawid sent messengers to fetch her. And she came to him, and he lay with her. He knew this was another man's wife, but he lay with her, for she was cleansing herself from her uncleanness, and she returned to house. And the woman conceived. Her husband out in battle. He couldn't do it. He gone. And sent and informed Dawid and said, I am pregnant. Then Dawid sent to Jobab, send Uriah the Hittite to me. And Jobab sent Uriah to Dawid. Now, this dude tried to be sneaky and cunning. He tried to be cunning. He like, okay, let me go get this man, have him lay with his wife, and then it could be blamed on him. Uriah come back like, man, look, man, she fine. I wouldn't mind laying with her, but all my men, my boys out here doing this, it would be right for me to get some pleasure. Come on, get some pleasure while they out there doing that. Nah, I ain't touching her. I ain't saying I don't want to, but nah. David tried to even get him drunk or whatever and stuff. This man said, nah, I ain't even going in the house because I know myself, man. She fine. He would not lay with her. So what David do? David decided to put him to the worst part of the fight and had him in back away from him. So he gonna end up dead. Still pregnant with his baby though. How you gonna how you gonna cover that up? The Most High ends up, saying that baby ain't gonna live. David grieved a little bit, put on his stuff, and Ash, the baby died, and then David back to what he doing, and he done pulled her in now and made her a wife. This man done did it. He done coveted man wife, committed adultery with that man wife. Then he set that man up to die. This is worse than a mafia movie, man. Come on. David, the same one that's after Yah's own heart, did some cold stuff. This the king, the representative of the whole nation. We need to hear this. That's why it's in the book. We up here with all this pride and stuff like that. Oh, we ain't do nothing worthy at all. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Just because you Yashara don't mean you should have pride and be boasting and all that. No, you need to remember your uncleanness. Yeah, you need to humble yourself. Let that shame hit you a little bit to recognize that it's all about Yah. It's not about you. Yes, you are going to be in a position where you're going to have others have to submit under you. But remember where you came from so that you treat them right because Yah has treated us more than right when we ain't even deserve it. So this vengeance and stuff that you want to have and all that stuff, nah. Your stuff stink. You got some skeletons in your closet. You need to walk in some integrity and respect the position that Yah's giving you. But I ain't done yet. I ain't done yet. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. So I'm gonna stay within the same, same book, and same, kind of same persons involved, but it's a little bit different. Daweed's still involved in it, so I'm gonna Shemuel a bit. 2 Samuel 13. So check it out. Let me see. I'm gonna look at my notes for a second just to make sure I ain't skipping nothing, because, mm, you know, I'm gonna read something that I wrote though just before I go. It says, "Yes, we are chosen to be head, but don't ignore we have unrighteous moments in our past that shows that we are not this perfect people that can only blame other nations for our wickedness." Mm, let me keep going. All right, Shemuel Bet, 2 Samuel 13. And it says, "And after this it came to be that Absalom, son of Dawid, had a beautiful sister, whose name was Tamar. And Amnon, son of Dawid, loved her. And Amnon was distressed, even to become sick, because his sister Tamar, for she was a maiden, young." And see, our modern take of virgin is not even necessary to say back then, because if you weren't given off in marriage or whatever, you was expected to not have be touched. But let's keep reading. "And it was hard in the eyes of Amnon to do whatever to her. He sees she a maiden, but he gonna take her. He gonna take his sister. Same father, different mother. And Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, son of Shema, Dawi's brother. Now Jonadab was a very wise man, and he said to him, 'Why are you, the sovereign son, becoming thinner day after day?' Man, he lusting after her so bad he ain't even eating. 'Explain it to me.' And Amnon said to him, 'I love Tamar, my brother Shalom's sister.'" This is still his sister, same daddy, but it's his brother. You know, Absalom has same dad and mom as Tamar. And Jonadab said to him, "Lie down on your bed and pretend to be sick. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, 'Please let my sister Tamar come and give me food, and make the food before my eyes so that I see it and eat it from her hand.'" It's kind of a interesting request. And Dawid got so much going on, he ain't even, come on, you got servants for this. Well, it got to be the sister. What, man, come on. Sometimes in our parenting, we could be negligent. It's amazing how many parents are negligent until something happened and then they become very vigilant. Leaving our children in compromised situation. This daughter is in a compromised situation, and he don't even see the threat of the brother because Dawid is king, so he got other things to be worried about. But Yonadab see how this man is losing weight because he's lusting after his own sister, half sister, but still his sister. So Ammon lay down and pretended to be sick. Amnon, he lay down and pretended to be sick, and the sovereign came to see him. And Amnon said to the sovereign, "Please let Tamar, my sister, come and make a couple of cakes for me before my eyes, so that I eat from her hand." I don't know. I ain't had siblings, so I guess I wouldn't. I don't even relate with this. I didn't meet my siblings until I was much older. My father had multiple children, but my mom didn't have none. Her only child. It says, and Dawid sent to Tamar he sent Tamar to the house, saying, "Please go to the house of your brother Amnon and make food for him." And so Tamar went to her brother. She being obedient to her daddy. She went to her brother Amnon's house while he was lying down, and she took dough and kneaded it, and made cakes before his eyes, and baked the cakes. And she took the pan and turned them out before him. But he refused to eat. And Amnon said, "Make everyone go away from me." And they all went out from him. And Amnon said to Tamar, "Bring the food into the bedroom, and I eat from your hand." And Tamar took the cakes which she had made. See, she innocent. She don't know. She don't. And brought them to Amnon, her brother, in the bedroom. And she brought them to him to eat. And he took hold of her and said to her, "Come lie with me, my sister." Huh? Man, that incest, boy. And she answered him, "No, my brother, do not humble me, for it is not done so in Israel." This is against the law. This is against Torah for him to do this. Do not do this wickedness. It's not right for him to uncover David's nakedness in his daughter. It's not right. And where could I take my shame? And you would be like one of the fools of Yasharal. And now please speak to the sovereign, for he would not withhold me from you. Basically, get our dad's permission, get our father's permission. She trying to do everything to slow this up, to put a halt to it. But he would not listen to her voice, and being stronger than she, he humbled her. He took what he wanted and lay with her. This is happening in Yasharal. This is happening probably in somebody who's listened to this family, this type of stuff. And yet we want to blame it on the white man, the palm-skin man. No, this dysfunction is in your family. And it's a lot of time not spoken of. It's hidden. It's secret. It's something in the dark not brought to light. Something that we need to shine a light on and deal with. Let this shame come out, and we need to remember these things and enjoy the cleanness that's coming our way, but we need to remember these things so that we don't get too high in the head, thinking we better than other folks. No, we need to be humble, not by having somebody take something from, but to acknowledge this is us. This is the filthy menstrual cycle type stuff that is in our past, in our ancestry. Amnon then hated her exceedingly. After he done did this to her, he done hate, so that the hatred which he had hated her was greater than the love which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, "Arise, go." He treated her like women hygiene pad, yeah, just gone, throwing her away. She like refuge now after he done did what he did to her. His sister. It be your family sometimes, your family. And she said to him, "No, this evil of sending me away is worse than the other you have done to me." But he would not listen to her. And he called his young man serving him and said, "Now put this one out away from me," and bolt the door behind her. Man, this type of mess be happening. People be defiling their family members and stuff like that and doing stuff that should not happen. Uncovering nakedness. But we want to blame it on the other nations. Homosexuality, we want to blame it on other nations. This type of situation, blame it on other nations. No, This stuff that's been in us. If I go back to that text, said no, stuff that's in us, stuff that we did in our land before we were spread apart. So how we blaming other folks for stuff that we've been doing? Yeah, it happened to us, but we've been doing that. And a lot of our families, we know the people who be doing it. We know the people with the dysfunction, and we don't call them out. We don't hold them accountable. You might as well say that you are an accessory to the crime. You ain't bringing light to that darkness, and you know it's there. Oh, but I'm proud. Okay, proud of what? Tell the whole story. Clean up your house, Israel. Don't just act like you clean. Clean up your house, Israel. Yes, Yah's gonna clean it up, but you need to acknowledge the filth that's on you. Deal with that. Give some people some reprieve, some let them be able to breathe again by making them whole and correcting what's been done in the dark. No, you can't erase it. It ain't going away from memory. It's gonna be there. But you need to handle those people, handle that situation. I mentioned Benjamin. Benjamin got handled to the point that they almost disappeared as a nation, a tribe. Got to handle this stuff. And a lot of folks are still living with mishandled stuff. It's a lot of children that's been born from people in their own family and they ain't discussing it. You know, people getting credit for their child or whatever, but oh, they know that's so and so's. So and so done fathered a lot of different children that the people that they done took advantage of, forced themselves on, just like with Tamar. You got a lot of folks that's dealing with homosexuality because what? Something happened to them in their childhood. And maybe they trying to get their get back, or they can only feel some form of power by being in the position above someone that looks like them, as far as, male on male or female on female. Come on. You got a lot of dysfunction in the household, and when it ain't being addressed. This ain't what I was planning on, dealing with it initially, but let's talk. Okay. Brit Hadashah, Yahusha is betrayed by who? One of his own, one of his 12. Yahudis, or Judas as we called him, for some silver. But, yeah, he felt guilty about it and killed himself. But that ain't even it. The whole nation turned on the man. The man we call Mashiach was turned on by the whole nation. They said, oh, I'll free him. Pilate, like, I'll free him. But you want him or Barabbas? Barabbas' name was Yahusha too. Most people don't know his surname, but guess what? They chose Barabbas over Yahusha. We are our own problem a lot of times, and we don't want to address that. We want to keep blaming all these other nations. Deuteronomy 28, we'll always quote that. If you do this, favor. But you do this, curses. And it's like, okay, so if we couldn't be touched, but only would be seeing favor if we obey, and yet we see the example that we are touched all around, there must be a reason. There must be evidence of us disobeying. Otherwise, Why are we touched? That dysfunction. Hmm? Come on. That them secrets and that the skeletons that's in your closet, you open the doorway for judgment. Y'all gonna have to do something with us all in cleaning us up. Cause we ain't ready to be cleaned. Cause we won't even admit that we got skeletons in our closet as a nation of people. We want to act like everybody has just done us so wrong and not acknowledge that, okay, it's us. It's us. You see right now they talk YNs, the YNs. See, I like to remind people, niggas. That meant that's what we royal priesthood. But we're able to be mocked and be a byword because what? We are disobedient. So words that's meant for our good, terms that's supposed to be for us to, have some encouragement and affirmations are not affirmations anymore. We ain't vindicated because we ain't operating in integrity and honesty and acknowledging that we done some stuff worthy of the punishment that has come and fell on us. No, I didn't do that. No, you didn't. But we are viewed as one son. Exodus 4:22, the whole nation, and the disobedience of our ancestors is befell us. And so we as a nation of people need to do like Yahushua and say, far as me and my family, we will serve Yahuwah and walk in righteousness, set ourselves apart. We ain't got to forget what we've been through, but we need to learn from it. Set it straight. Abiyah, thank you for this Shabbat. Thank you for this opportunity to minister. May some edification go forth. I'm always open for constructive criticism. I say that over and over again. I don't accept the insults, but the constructive criticism, the critique, bring it on. Because iron sharpens iron. I am here to hear about your will. This was not my original message for today, but this is the message that was necessary for today. May those that need to hear this hear it, and it be a benefit to your kingdom. I thank you for your will being done on this earth as is in the Shamayim. May your Mashiach, your second Adam, bring forth the dominion on earth and honor you as your representation and image for mankind. Hallelujah, Yada Yahuwah. Shanquil Yah or Shanquilla Carter, One Vision Ministry. Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.